How could you guys not tell me that Steven Crowder was back on YouTube making videos? The last time I heard anything about this guy was when a video came out of him berating and abusing his wife. He got divorced, had to pay her, like, I think some big alimony in court, and had, like, a public meltdown after getting called out by her for being, like, a weirdo on Twitter, and then disappeared from the internet for like 2 fucking years. Like, he's been gone for years, and none of you guys told me that at some point he came back? Rumble not working out for him? Did he move to Rumble after all that? Because, yeah, apparently Rumble did not work out for him, because now he's back on YouTube, and he pulls decent viewership. Not exactly good for a channel with 6 million subscribers, though. He's, you know, pulling close to 200, 100k views a day in one day, which is not considered phenomenal for a 6 million view subscriber channel. It's good views, don't get me wrong. I would kill for viewership like that, but for 6 million subs, that's not fantastic by any means. However, he recently put out a video, and I thought we'd go ahead and check in on him, see how he's doing after the divorce. You know, it seemed pretty rough on him, you know? Thought we'd go ahead and check in on him and see how he's doing. And, you know, I've got a lot of Canadians in chat, it would seem, which means I think you guys will be happy to find out that his segment we're going to be responding to is called Canada, Get Your Shit Together. I think he is Canadian, by the way.
Legs!
Which I guess makes sense, because Arthur is a Canadian show, and he voiced a character on Arthur before he became a right-wing pundit, so yeah, I guess it does make sense. So let's go ahead and check in on what our boy Crowder is up to these days. Our Canadian expat boy criticizing the country of his origin. Let's see what his deal is here. He's back on the same set. Looks like the set didn't change. That's good to see. Glad to know some things never change, you know. It's a nostalgia thing, right? You know, I can always reliably know Steven Crowder's set will always be that brick wall with the wooden wall and the windowsill with the bright sunny day outside. You know, it's somewhat comforting, to tell you the truth. I appreciate it.
And I don't have respect for anyone who sits there idly by at this point. You have your government enabling, supporting criminals. My God, what happened to the men of Canada? Reach down between your legs. See if you find something. Sound off like you've got a pair. For God's sakes, it's embarrassing. Canada, look, let me just...
You know, Steven, I don't know if you are aware of this, but, Canadians are not exactly known for their, like, rough, gruff, like, toxic masculinity as a culture. They're more known for being, like, logical, compassionate, polite, and like, generally, like, you know, keeping to themselves. I don't really think right now that like, Canadians are yeah, like lumberjacks and shit. You know, it's a non-toxic kind of masculinity that I feel Canada is associated with. At least as an American, I associate Canada with, like, lumberjacks and stuff. You know what I mean? But like, this is very much the kind of rhetoric that works on Americans. I don't think most Canadians are out there looking for this type of rhetoric. I could be wrong, though. I'm not Canadian, but that, as an American, this just seems like a massive miss if you're trying to, like, motivate the men of Canada.
Just be really, this is my, it's a country where I was raised, to be clear. I was born in Detroit. I have tried to officially renounce my citizenship. I have done so on air. I renounce, whatever I need to do. Canadian citizenship. Canada is a horrible country. I think there should be serious revolution from people there who are being subjugated by their government. I think everyone should leave. So I don't know what else to do, but Canada is...
This guy, by the way, is immensely retarded, if it's not already obvious. One of my favorite things is that, he did the classic conservative bit that, like, every right-wing influencer at some point does and has done for decades, where they say, waterboarding isn't that bad. It's not really torture. And so they get challenged to endure real waterboarding. Steven Crowder did horizontal, like, not even like the hanging down like a bat kind of waterboarding that we do in Guantanamo Bay. He did the safest, not strapped down, completely in control of the situation, laying on a flat table type of waterboarding, where you get like 10% of how bad it is, and he could not endure it for 3 seconds. After months of defending waterboarding at Guantanamo Bay, this is a guy with absolutely no principles. He maintained his position even after he couldn't endure it for 3 seconds. I think he made an excuse that his lung problems made it so he specifically couldn't endure it, but anyone else would be fine. Like, this guy is just, he's such a piece of shit.
Awful. And I want to be clear here. You don't need to go to full-fledged communism to get to levels.
Oh, yeah. He also did the George Floyd neck thing. He tried to endure a knee on his neck, like what happened to George Floyd, and he tapped out. And gave a similar excuse. Because he literally would have died had he been under that knee for as long as George Floyd was, so he had to tap out. He realized, oh shit, I forgot, this is all a grift. I should not have committed this hard. And tapped the fuck out, which was lucky for him.
Of unacceptable oppression. To get to levels of oppression and violations of rights that necessitate some kind of revolution. Yes, armed. Now, I'm not saying go and kill somebody specifically. I am saying that Canada has 10 years left. If they continue at this pace, they will cease to be a nation, and rightfully so.
You heard it here first, guys. All of that is true because Steven Crowder said it. And he would never lie to you, right?
You need to find your backbone. Because this weekend, and by the way, in a long line of horrible weekends, there was a man from Vaughan, Canada, was murdered by home invaders searching for loot. But the fallout and the advice from the authorities in Canada is what is so distressing and may seem foreign to you Americans. But I want you, when you hear what they say here, I want you to go, oh, that's exactly what the Democrat Party would do in the United States if they had unfettered power. It's time to go to No Canada.
Dude, okay, I'm American, and this is so fucking cringe, dude. As someone who likes a good heh fuck Canada joke every once in a while, there's just no creativity to this, and frankly, it's actually serious. Like, I think he actually seems to hate Canada. And when we make jokes about fuck Canada, you're not supposed to actually hate Canada. Like, it's ironic. He's serious about it, though, so it's just retarded. Like, this is so cringe, dude.
So,
yeah, we screw up.
I just want to contrast, just to give you an idea here, as to Canada versus, a good example, Florida. There's an epidemic of, I don't want to say a crime epidemic, but there's a statistical increase, by the way. The epidemic in Canada is Canadian officials.
Is there a statistical increase in crime in Canada? I know it's not the case in America. Let's check. Canada, crime by year. Let's just find out if he's lying. I see. Alright. At least as far as has been tracked, unfortunately, conservatives get away with a little clever thing, which is the fact that this data stopped being, like, we don't have data post-2021 by the looks of things, but, like, you guys remember what was happening in 2021, right? Like, there's a very good reason why crime stopped being on a downtrend. Hell, 2016 seems to be when crime started to really go up again, like 2014 to 2016. What the fuck happened then? But especially here, this particular spike being even higher than the trend upward that was happening. You guys remember what happened here, right? Not the trucker protest, COVID. COVID led to a crime spike in every country across the world besides maybe like New Zealand. You know, the fact we don't have data after this, I promise you, 2022's crime data is going to see a drop. I will bet my nut that 2022 will see a drop in crime data. 2023 might see it drop further as well. I can't assume that far, but like 2020 and 2021 were crime peaks for America too, and it immediately started falling after. So if Canada had a similar reaction to COVID, I can only assume it had a similar reaction to COVID winding down. At least COVID's effect on crime rates winding down.
Officials and those in positions of authority who serve to protect your God-given rights. Instead,
but credit to Crowder. He didn't lie when he said there's been an uptick in crime in Canada.
Stripping the citizens of God-given rights, telling people not to fight back against home invaders or violent criminals.
As it stands, we know the best defense for most people is to comply. As you've just heard, a number of safety recommendations.
That's not defense.
Will allow for those that are victimizing members in the community to leave and not harm anyone.
Everyone hear about the story?
All right. I'm going to get very real with you guys here. Statistically, if you get robbed, someone breaks into your home, and they want to rob you or commit any crime against you, statistically, your best chance of survival and not being hurt is to comply. Either resist completely or comply completely. This is true of most cases in which you're assaulted by a criminal. These are your best cases for survival. You have to commit to either full compliance to the criminal or full non-compliance and full resistance, which means, like, giving it all you got to escape or fight back. Now, statistically, you are most likely to survive if you comply. But there are a lot of reasons why I think it's reasonable to expect people to not comply when they are aggressed upon by a criminal. If someone breaks into your home and they plan to steal your TV and your computer and your wallet and your, like, everything, all your jewelry, everything, they plan to steal all of it, and they're breaking into your home, and you could comply, give it all up, and you'll probably be fine, but also you've got a Glock, and it's loaded and in your hand, I think it's totally reasonable for someone to light the fucker up, air that place out, and make sure that their themselves and their property are protected. I'm American, so the idea that, like, morally you ought to let an aggressor take what they want and comply is just kind of, like, nonsense to me. But statistically, and I'm sure this is what they're actually arguing, statistically, the citizens of Canada are most safe when they comply with a criminal rather than try to resist, even with lethal weapons. Hell, if one party has a lethal weapon, the other doesn't, if you shoot a criminal, that's a situation where, had you complied, both parties would have survived that day. And in the situation where one party has a gun and shoots the other, only one party gets to survive that scenario. So, from a leadership perspective, when the whole, like, macho idea of defending your property and your family that America is kind of built and founded on isn't thrown into the picture, yeah, it is actually most responsible for politicians to say, yeah, comply with criminals. Statistically, that is your best chance of surviving the encounter. My job as a politician is not to, like, feed into your ego. It's to tell you how best to survive a dangerous situation should that happen. It's pretty simple, at least from my POV. And I'm a real big, like, pro-gun guy, but, like, if you actually charitably look at what they're saying, it's pretty obvious what they mean.
Story in Lindsay. So this criminal that's wanted by the police breaks into this guy's house. This guy gives him a beating, and this guy gets charged.
At 3 a.m.
And the other guy gets charged. But, like, something is broken.
The possibility of being attacked in your home, leave your fobs at your front door. Because they're breaking into your home to steal your car. They don't want anything else. A lot of them that they're arresting have guns on them, and they're not toy guns, they're real guns. They're loaded.
If we are going to rely on our
That's a good point. Don't fucking confront the armed guy who's just there to steal a car. He's not there to kill you in your home. Like, if you want to go out into your driveway and fight the armed criminal trying to steal your car and maybe die over a car, that's on you, but maybe don't, is what he was saying. And that is a guy, by the way, I can tell by looking at him, that is a guy who's been in a gunfight.
They don't want anything else. A lot of them that they're arresting have guns on them, and they're not
yeah, this guy has been in a gunfight before. This guy knows what he's talking about, okay? You are not a fucking action hero or a police officer or a soldier, Steven Crowder. That guy has probably been in a gunfight. You have not, Steven Crowder, you fucking LARPer with your gun on your desk. Like, I own guns too. You don't see me putting them up on display and LARPing about them all the time. How can you tell just by looking at him? He's a fucking police officer, and you can tell that, like, just from the subject matter, he's not talking about, like, firearms and shootouts like they're a joke. he's talking about them like they're deadly fucking serious. And he's got that look in his eye like he damn well knows how serious it is. So yeah, he's at least probably responded to shooting scenarios and seen what happens to people, what's happened to his officers. So yeah, this is a guy who knows better than Steven Crowder does, is my main point.
Toy guns, they're real guns. They're loaded.
If we are going to rely on our community members to take matters into their own hands to solve this problem, we have all failed.
He was just straight up saying, like, if you want to die over a car, go die over a car, but I'd recommend you stay inside. They're not coming for you. They're coming for your property. That's pretty straightforward.
Our community.
It's best to just let him finish.
If people take it in their own hands, you failed the community? Sorry, Mr. Paul Kersey would like a word for a minute.
Goodbye.
Yeah.
Just a word. Let's do it.
And
just complying is not defense.
No.
It's like taking all 11 guys off the field when you're playing football and going like, all right, score a touchdown. That's the best defense.
Exactly.
Just let them score.
In the context of criminal has targeted you, any action you take or action you actively, knowingly do not take that prevents your death is a defense. You are really picking. It's like, you're not actually defending yourself if you don't do anything, and if you don't defend yourself, you're a fucking pussy. It's like, okay, yeah. The Canadian government is just enforcing the pussy law, it seems. Like, I would say these things as a joke, never as like a serious statement as to what Canada should do politically. Canada does not have the situation America does, where there are several times more guns than people, okay? We don't need to bring our problems to Canada, all right? Like, their solutions might not work for America, but we do not need to bring our problems to Canada when it comes to guns and like, gun culture being around like, yeah, second someone pisses me off, go for my gun. Like, we don't need Canadians to think that way like Americans do. Don't need that, nah.
Exactly, and this of course enables criminal. Let's contrast that, and then I'll give you some of my opinions and some supporting facts here. Let's contrast that with Florida sheriffs. By the way, the least likely sheriffs to actually abuse their power because they encourage you to be armed. Just like the president who encourages you to be armed is the least likely to.
Where is he pulling from that Florida sheriffs are the least likely to abuse their power? Because there are a good few stories we reported on here on the channel. Massive lawsuits and exposés on sheriffs and police departments, specifically in Florida, that suggest they are very likely to abuse their power. You don't hear a lot of stories of them, like, brutalizing black people necessarily, though that does happen. It's a lot of, like, money laundering shit. Like Florida police departments spending money and funds, like embezzling, like sheriffs embezzling shit and whatnot. Like, police department treasurers embezzling federal funding and stuff. Like, or state funding. It's usually pretty like financial related corruption and abuses of power. And that's probably why Steven Crowder's banking on a lot of people thinking, yeah, I guess I don't hear a lot about Florida cops abusing their power. Because it's financial and, you know, the audience of content like this, the second they see a headline that has anything to do with a financial scandal, they click out. They don't care.
Stomp in your door and try and violate your rights. Why would someone who wants control encourage you to be armed so that you can live autonomously from the oppressive thumb of government? So here are Florida sheriffs encouraging homeowners to do the right thing, and I do mean the right thing, in defending themselves from home invaders.
Sorry, hit you early.
The people of Polk County like guns.
Polk County, I live there.
I encourage them to own guns, and if you try to break into their homes to steal, to set fires, I'm highly recommending they blow you back out of the house with your gun.
Somebody breaks in your house,
Love
you're
that
more
guy.
than welcome to shoot them.
Like, this is very good for, like, virtue signaling, like, yeah, we will back our citizens if they... And I do, as a gun owner, I like hearing my local sheriff say stuff like that, because it makes me confident that if I ever do have to use my firearm to lawfully defend myself, I'm not going to end up with, like, a hard-ass, stick-up-their-ass DA going after me, trying to put me in prison and make an example out of me on federal news or national news. I'm glad that, like, the police department would be on my side openly. That's a nice thing to know, right? But if we want our police department heads to be giving advice to Americans that is statistically proven to make it less likely they will die in a shootout, then that is not what he should be saying. Ironically, this is Steven Crowder preferring a virtue signal over the harsh truth that trying to be a hero or trying to play the macho man who protects his family and property with a gun is more likely to get you killed, and maybe even your family killed, than anything else. It's the unfortunate fact, and Steven Crowder prefers the virtue signaling fantasy of, yeah, someone breaks into your house, you blow them away. It's like, if someone breaks into your house, they probably have a gun too. You know, like, it's not guaranteed that just because you're armed that you're going to win the gunfight. There are many stories of people, armed homeowners, getting shot to death by armed invaders to their home. And there's a good chance they would not have been shot to death if they didn't open up on the guys with guns breaking into their house. If they complied, they might have survived. But they'll never know. They'll never know. This is literally just a like, Steven Crowder wants virtue signaling from his government officials moment.
In Santa Rosa County, we prefer that you do, actually. We have a gun safety class we put on every other Saturday, and if you take that, you'll shoot a lot better, and hopefully you'll save the taxpayers money.
I praise
Amen.
This husband for doing what he needed to do to protect his home and protect his family. And if you're going to be that brazen to come into my home, once again, you should expect that you're going to be shot.
Again, those are the police least likely to abuse their authority because they can't. Encouraging you to be armed is a containment strategy. It's a containment strategy as to unchecked authority.
Yes, guys, you're totally going to be able to keep the cops in check with your militia of armed guys, for sure. That's, yeah, total. Especially Florida cops? Oh, yeah. Oh, man. Oh, yeah. Florida cops, that's the thing, though. Floridians are so armed that they can just keep the peace themselves. They can keep the cops in check, guys. I don't know if you all know this, but the federal government and state government have funded the Florida police departments more than many other police departments in the whole country. It is not uncommon to see vehicles that look like this or like this going down the street. Especially during a disaster, you see them all out on deployment. But, like, if shit gets crazy, to be very clear, they've got modified equipment that our Marines were using in Afghanistan to roll out on you, okay? Thought LA has that? This is, like, every Florida police department has these. I forget exactly what they're called. These specific vehicles have a name. They're extremely, extremely armored. But they're also fully aqueous compatible. Like, they have a snorkel exhaust so that they can go into pretty significantly deep water, because these are also made to be able to handle MRAP. That's an MRAP. Thank you. They can also handle deep water. So if there's a flood or a hurricane, they can be deployed in those situations. They definitely have their uses. Obviously, they're hooked up with so much here. Like, this thing could easily winch out several cars. No problem. Like a truck, a really big, like, Ford F-150 could easily get winched out. You've got multiple hooks here for towing things out of mud and whatnot. You've got, like, I forget, I don't know what these are. I think these are like some kind of, like, stand or something like that, or a rack maybe. This is a whole, like, arsenal too, like, set up and can carry like 13 guys or something. And they've got hundreds of these. They've got speakers. They've got blindingly loud speakers and light bars that will deafen and blind you like a flashbang. Like, these things can... Like, just to be very clear, like, Steven Crowder understands that real life is not a movie or a video game, right? Like, the cops will fucking kill you if you try to form an armed resistance against them to quote-unquote hold them in check. You're committing a crime if you do that, and that immediately gives them license to slaughter you. Okay, like, what are you fucking talking about, Steven Crowder, you Canadian cuck? That's not how America works, you foreigner you silly boy. You silly foreigner, Steven Crowder. That's not how America works. Bro's LARPing, dude. Although I will say, the LARP has simmered down a little bit. He doesn't have his little pistol on his desk anymore. So he's not leaning all the way into the little, like, revolutionary conservative gun LARPer like he used to. And I can appreciate that. He's getting better. Though I will say, he's as obnoxious as ever, I'm glad to know that Steven Crowder's still around for us to bully. He's definitely fallen off, and I don't think he's going to be blowing up anytime soon, so... Isn't he also wearing the holster harness? Was he not? Yeah, he's not wearing the holster harness anymore. You're right, E-Man. I forgot about that detail, too. Well, hey, Steven Crowder just doesn't have... You know, he's kind of falling apart. He's not all into the gun stuff like he used to be. He's not macho posting like he used to. Maybe he's starting to get a little more feminine. Maybe he's starting to realize he's more liberal than he thought he was. Who knows? Anyway, folks, if you enjoyed this video, if you found it entertaining, educational, or enjoyable in any way whatsoever, then please consider leaving a like and a comment down below. Every thumbs up and every comment helps to boost my videos and streams in the algorithm and, you know, push it out to more people who haven't seen my stuff, grows the channel, and helps to choke out the conservative propaganda out there and maybe reach some people that would have otherwise gone to the far right. And of course, make sure to subscribe and ring the bell icon to turn on all notifications if you haven't already, so YouTube actually tells you when I go live or upload new videos. And follow my social medias, linked down below if you haven't already, particularly my fan Discord, as that is the main hub of my fan base and community. And on top of that, that's where I host watch parties, movie nights, and call-in streams every Friday, every week. So if you don't want to miss anything, make sure you hop on in there. You won't regret it. And I do hope to see you there. With all that said, though, if you want to support me directly, financially, help me keep the lights on and a roof above my head here at the Xander Hall Studio, then please consider donating, subscribing, or gifting a sub on my website, xanderhall.com/live, or support me through YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, Stream Elements, Patreon, or buy some custom Xander Hall merch through the Streamlabs link down below. Regardless of how you support me, though, thank you all so much for watching, as always, and have a good one.